Guess what time it is, kids? Yep, it's another Car Talks. These intros. I gotta get something different for every one of these intros. Anyway, in this Car Talks, I want to talk about kind of along the similar veins of what I did the last Car Talks about developing a routine and a habit of, for a side hustle and putting yourself out there in the community. For this one, I want to talk about the path, the journey to get to a certain point in your career. So what I mean by that is I have seen a lot of people, and it's human nature to take an action and immediately see some kind of result. Whether that action be to work on an important project at work and immediately get a raise, or work on, develop some kind of blog post that takes hours and hours of time and immediately expect to see just this huge rush of traffic and helping everybody. It's human nature to want to see an immediate result from your actions, but unfortunately, a lot of times that's not how it is at all. A lot of people are focused on the short term. They're focused on the one-off situations, the one-off projects, the one-hit wonders. They think, if I do this thing, then this is going to happen immediately, and I'll be the richest person in the world, and I'll have all this fame and notoriety, and it'll just be great. But lots of people don't realize that to get from A to C, you have to go to B first. You can't go directly to A to C. What I mean by that is, in the context of in the context of IT careers and side hustles and jobs and all that sort of thing, I'm talking about people that decide to to start blogging, or to start helping people on forums or on Twitter, or write a couple articles here and there. These kind of people, they start out, which is great, which is what some people don't even do. They take that first step, that first initiative, which is awesome. That was by far and away, that's a great accomplishment right there. But they get frustrated immediately because they think, well, Adam told me to do this thing, and look at all these Twitter followers that Adam has, or look at all these followers on Mike Robbins' blog. Look at all this stuff that these people have. Why don't I have that? I did a blog post. I spent a lot of time. But what you don't realize is that lots of people have put in years and years of effort into building up lots of content and authority, and helping lots of people over the long haul. Giving back and teaching and sharing your knowledge, and blogging and tweeting and conference talks and user groups and all this sort of stuff. One thing that really doesn't matter. That's because you don't become a Microsoft MVP if you decide all of a sudden, I'm going to put on one awesome conference talk. It just doesn't happen that way. But you need to expect it. So, in my opinion, if you want to be successful in anything that takes more than just one action, you have to adapt your expectations to what you're attempting to accomplish. You have to set your goal, and then once you have the routine set up, the routine is very important. The habits that I talked about last time, because what I found is that whenever I started off years ago in the PowerShell community, and I really didn't start off with how things turned out to be today at all. It just seemed to kind of happen. And what I found is that I just wanted to start a blog, teaching people about the cool stuff that that I was doing in my career. That I was doing at work. I enjoyed it. I used it as documentation, and if some people got something out of it, that's great. I never really had any expectations. I think if I would have had an expectation of just blogging just for other people and to get some kind of recognition from other people, I would have probably quit a long time ago. And that would have not led to other blog posts, and that would have not led to all the tweets that I do. That would have not led to all of the hundreds and hundreds of articles that I've done on sites other than my blog, and all the webinars and everything else that's happened because of this. And even the previous job that I had, that the best job I've ever had in the world, and how I am now, where I was able to quit and do what I love full time. That probably would have never happened if I would have started off, getting outside of my comfort zone and my full-time job and started blogging and tweeting and helping people in forums and things. That probably would have never happened, because I would have probably gotten frustrated and I would just throw my hands. I'm just going to go back to my job. It's easier. I know what to do. I get told what to do. Here's a task. Do the task. You're done. Go home, and then just play around a bit at home. But I didn't do that. My intention at first was I really had no intention at all. I just was going to to start sharing my knowledge and trying to teach people a little bit, and really just kind of get some buzz around some of the cool stuff that I was doing at work. And when I did that, when that was my intention, I unintentionally set myself up on this path to where I am today, that has led to all these other opportunities that I've had. And it's something that I really think a lot of people should focus on. It requires a lot of patience. I'm a naturally patient person. I have all the patience in the world, because I honestly, I love what I do. I love helping people. I love solving problems, and I just love, I love the concept of work. My wife doesn't probably care for it too much, but I work too much. But my work is my hobby. I love what I do, so I'm fortunate in that regard. But I know a lot of people aren't. You're not necessarily the patient type, and I completely understand that. It's you just want something done now. You want something done ASAP, or I do an action and I need some kind of result. That's one thing that, especially in my new Tech Snips business, it's been one that I've been personally trying to get out of. I said that I'm a patient person. Everybody has their limits. I used to do lots and lots of more articles than I would do now, because I used to do these articles because they paid pretty well. I would just do an article, which would take me an hour or so, and get paid a few $100. Like, sweet. That's, immediate action, immediate result. Now with building this Tech Snips business, it's a long game, and I'm building up value ahead of time. So that's the same thing you're doing with your career. You're putting value in every blog post that you do, every forum post that you do, every conference talk that you do, every participation in a user group that you're a part of. That all adds things to your basket, adds things to the value of your career. It's exactly the same thing that I'm doing with my Tech Snips business, with my startup. It's still a little tough sometimes, to be completely honest with you, because not every day. Some days just feel like a grind. You're just kind of sitting doing the same thing. You're just building, and you're building, and you're building, and you're building, and you're building, and you get no emails from people saying, "Oh, you helped me out so much." You don't get any emails or contacts from clients. Like, you're just kind of building your own thing, and without getting paid a dime. So it's not. At first, it was very frustrating, and it still kind of is. It's still something I still struggle with. That you do this thing, or you do a blog post, you do all this thing. You write, you talk, you do this, you get involved, you go outside your comfort zone, go to a user group, you go to a conference, blah 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 blah. Each of these are iterative steps. They're not, to be, in my opinion, to be truly successful in your career and what you're doing for work, is you have to be patient. You have to know that each of these things that you do is a step. They're providing value. You're not just wasting your time when you do a blog post. You don't get paid for it, or you do a user group talk. You don't get paid for it. You're paying people with your time, but it's not a waste at all if you're doing it for a greater goal, for for a greater, accomplishment in the long run. And without really any kind of expectation, you know that you're on the right path. So going back to that path statement, you know you're on the right path. So you know that, okay, well, yeah, one of these days I want to work for Microsoft to do cloud stuff, or I want to, I want to own my own business and work for myself and, get rich, okay? What are the steps to do that? It's always the same old, the time management, project management methodology. Well, take the steps. How do you, and break it down into individual tasks. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It's the same thing. You're not going to eat the elephant all at once. You have to take small bites here and there. And as long as those bites, as long as those tasks that you do and all the actions that you take are going towards a particular path, you're going to hit each destination, each endpoint that you want in your career, as you will. I mean, it'll just naturally come. I'm an engineer mindset, and I'm very logical, but I found that you can't predict everything. You can't plan out everything with just utmost accuracy, like I know myself and a lot of other people that are probably watching this would like to do. But in my opinion, you have to define, get in control of your career, figure out the general direction you want to go. You don't say, I want to do, I want to make $1 million in a year when I'm making $30K a year. If you set unrealistic expectations or unrealistic goals, it's not going to happen. You have to just focus on the next thing you do, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. And as long as that sort of aligns with the path that you want to be on, as long as you stay on that same path, you're going to sort of just kind of direct your life and direct your career how you want it to go. And you would be surprised about all the opportunities that kind of come up that are completely unexpected. I had no idea that I was going to create a business and be a startup founder at this point in my life. I thought even just a year or two ago I was going to just be a content writer, writing content, maybe doing some courses and doing that sort of thing. I never thought I was going to be a startup founder, but it all just seems to kind of led to this. And it's exactly the same thing that you guys can do with the same thing. So in summary, the kind of gist of this car talk is to just focus on the path. Don't necessarily focus on the long destination. Even if you don't even know the destination or your goal, focus on the general direction that you want to go. Focus on the path. Just stay on the path. Do blog posts, conference talks, contribute to some open source projects, answer some forum posts, get involved on Twitter. There's a lot of different ways. Meet other people in your industry that can give you connections with other people. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but just make sure that you're always on that same general path. And if you do, the world is your oyster.